everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I, of course, am just another heavy metal maniac, and today I am very excited to bring you all something I haven't done for quite a while. I am doing a collection update. I got my hands on some new stuff. I got 3 different stacks here. I got a stack of cassettes, a stack of CDs, and a stack of vinyls that I am very excited to show off to all of you. Those of you who follow me on Instagram will know that I've already picked up a few of these albums, but there's some stuff that I haven't shown off yet at all. But yeah, I haven't done one of these for a while, so I figured right now I've got a bunch of new stuff, but no better time to do it than now. Order I got from Hell's Headbangers just came in today, so like these are just these are brand new for me. So yeah, without further ado, enough of my ramblings. Let's just get started with the cassettes. So I got a stack of 3 different cassettes right here. So we'll just start with the first one, and hopefully you'll be able to see the. Oh yeah, you can see it. So this is Absent in Body with their album Plague God. Yeah, here, I'll just pop it open so you guys can see. So I actually got this over, it was a Christmas gift from my sister, but I haven't shown it off until now. This is, I was not familiar with this band prior to me receiving it. This is kind of like, I guess, a supergroup project. This features like Scott Kelly from Neurosis, Igor Cavalera is on this album, and like I believe 1 or 2 members from Amen-Ra, who are a really cool sludge metal band or like kind of post metal band, are also on this album. And yeah, this is like kind of sludge metal, post metal, noise rock, industrial, just very, very dark, very dense, very kind of heavy sounding album. Great atmosphere. But overall, yeah, very enjoyable album. Yeah, again, it's just like very dark, very kind of oppressive post metal, kind of like industrial elements. Here and there, very comparable to like, Neurosis and Amen-Ra, and just like kind of that really dark, heavy, like kind of post-metal, sludge metal kind of stuff. Yeah, so if you are a fan of Neurosis, Amen-Ra, I'd say also maybe Isis, and yeah, if you're just like a fan of like sludge metal and post-metal in general, Absent in Body, Plague God, check this out. I think it's a pretty killer album. Next up for the cassettes, we have Broken Hope, Loathing. So this is the 4th studio album from this Chicago-based brutal death metal band. And yeah, those of you who've been watching this channel for any length of time probably will know, look at the cassette too, that is really, really sick. Those of you who've been watching this channel will know that I am a giant Broken Hope fan. I did a ranking for them. And yeah, spoilers for those who haven't seen my ranking, but this is my #1 Broken Hope album. I fucking adore this album. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. Like, this is like a desert island, like brutal death metal album for me. This to me is like the perfect amalgamation of Broken Hope's sound. Like, everything about this album is frankly just perfect. Like, every track on here I love. The opening track, Siamese Screams, like I love how it uses a sample from one of my favorite movies, Apocalypse Now, where you just are hit with these disgusting riffs. Joe Ptacek, rest in peace, that his just amazing low, deep, guttural vocals. Fucking awesome. The Cloning is an awesome song. Reunited, Skin is In, Auction of the Dead, I Am God. Yeah, I think to me, like, this is the perfect, as I said, this is the perfect blend of like Broken Hope sound, because you get all the straight up, just brutality that you got on the first 2 albums, Swamped in Gore and Battles Repugnance, with like the little kind of like grind fits here and there occasionally, but you also get kind of the more groovy sections that they were kind of exploring on Repulsive Conception. So for me, this is just kind of the perfect, everything I love about Broken Hope all rolled up into one album. One of my favorite death metal albums of all time. I fucking love this album, and I am so happy that I finally have my hands on it. Love the album cover too. I don't know what it is. It's gross and just weird, but I love it. Yeah, Broken Hope, Loathing. If you've not heard this, you are really, really missing out. I highly recommend it. Alright, and the final cassette I'm going to be showing off today is another one of my all-time favorite albums. I'm very happy to have this one in my collection finally as well. Sacrifice, Soldiers of Misfortune. Yeah, this is my favorite thrash metal album of all time. I have the back patch for this. I haven't put it on a vest yet because denim is impossible to find this side of the Mississippi, but yeah, this is my favorite thrash metal album of all time. This is, here, let me just pop it open. A really beautiful, like, gray cassette too. I don't know what it is. I just really like that color. But yeah, this, again, this is a masterpiece of thrash metal. This is, like I said, oops, sorry about that jiggle there. My favorite thrash album of all time. Absolutely flawless album. perfect blend of just absolutely, you know, vicious and intense thrash songwriting, but also just, you know, just, but again, what I love about Sacrifice is not only are they just great at like writing songs that are just, you know, thrashy and aggressive, they're great at writing songs that are like dynamic. Like this is like almost like progressive, like thrash. Like honestly, there's stuff on here that's comparable to like Voivod or like Coroner in like some spots. Like the opening track, As the World Burns, is amazing. Soldiers of Misfortune, the title track, is awesome. Pawn of Prophecy, Silence in the Storm, and the closing track, the 10-minute giant closing track, Truth After the Rain. Fucking amazing shit, man. Like seriously, this, like I said, this is just an absolute masterpiece of thrash metal. Frankly, one of the more underrated thrash bands, because these guys, even though they're kind of like one of the big four of Canadian thrash, they really, I feel like, deserve a lot more attention than they get. Last album was absolutely killer, but this will always be my favorite from these guys. My favorite thrash metal album of all time. Spoilers if I ever make a video just like talking about my favorite thrash albums, this is probably going to be number one, unless something changes, which I don't really see happening. But yeah, Soldiers of Misfortune, if you've not heard it, this is a masterpiece. You are missing out big time. So that's all the cassettes now out of the way. Let's talk about the CDs. Got a pretty decent stack of CDs right here. So first up, Asphyx, Last One on Earth. I have talked about this album like a bunch on this channel. I've talked about this album a lot. You've all heard me say this is my favorite death metal album of all time, and yep, that still holds true. There's the inside right there with the little booklet. Here, guess I'll quickly pop it open to show the booklet. Yeah, I don't really think I need to say much about this album. It's just a booklet with all the lyrics and stuff. Like I said, I've talked about this album over and over again on this channel, but I finally have gotten my hands on a copy. And yeah, this is my favorite death metal album of all time. It is an absolute masterpiece. Some of you are probably sick of hearing me gush about this album over and over again, but yep, it's a masterpiece. What can I say? This also comes with a bunch of like bonus tracks too, which I think is really neat. Yep, my favorite death metal album of all time. One of my top 5 favorite albums of all time. So yeah, Asphyx, Last One on Earth. It's a masterpiece. Really, no need to speak further. Next up, this is the first of 3 CDs that I won in a little giveaway that was hosted by Makaya, fellow metal YouTuber. If you're not familiar with her channel, I recommend you guys go give her a sub. She's pretty cool. Talked to her a bunch. She's a really cool person, and she was hosting a little giveaway, and I won 3 awesome CDs. So the first one here is Atheist, Unquestionable Presence. I almost said Piece of Time, but yeah, this is Unquestionable Presence. This is their follow-up album, their sophomore album, which came out in, was it 1991 this came out? Yes, 1991. Yeah, Atheist, progressive death metal, like kind of jazz fusion death metal, really just kind of crazy death metal. Admittedly, for me, I'm not the world's biggest Atheist fan. I really like their debut, Piece of Time, which definitely has kind of, it's still, you know, like progressive and stuff, but it's definitely got a lot more of that kind of like thrash influence. This is definitely a lot more on the prog side, definitely less thrashy. Admittedly, I'm still not overly big on this album, but you know, I do own it now. Who knows? I will give this album, you know, more chances later. I'll give it, maybe it'll grow on me. Just for now, though, I'm really not the biggest fan of it, but obviously, you know, it was given to me by someone else, so I'm not gonna like give it away or anything. But yeah, Atheist, Unquestionable Presence. Yeah, I'm not personally not the biggest fan of it. But you know, for those of you who do like this stuff, you know, good for you. It's just not for me as of yet. Again, it might grow on me in the future, but for now, I do have. I'm glad I do have it though, just because, you know, again, I do want to give it a second chance. I'm probably overdue to give it a second chance, but for now, it's just really not my thing. But again, that might change. We'll see. All right, next up, this is the second of the 3 CDs that I won. Expunged, Into Never Shall. So this is the debut album from this, I believe they're from Ontario-based death metal band, and yeah, this is just like pure Swedish death metal worship. Like here, I'll pop it open. Look at that. I really like the CD. That is really cool. Yeah, this is just pure Swedish death metal worship. You know, this is just that got that nasty, disgusting HM2, you know, buzzsaw guitar tone. Like, just, again, A lot of like Dismember riffs. Honestly, I think like again, it's Swedish death metal worship. A lot of in comparisons to make it to Entombed, Dismember. I'd say this album maybe leans a little bit more on the Dismember side of the worship spectrum, just because I feel like there's a little more emphasis on like melody and harmony that you would get in Dismember compared to Entombed. But yeah, I think this is a really, really solid album. Some really killer songs, like I think the song Torn Apart was pretty cool. Drowned in Fire I liked. Amidst the Embers, in the title track I thought was pretty good. Yeah, overall I do dig this album. I think it is pretty killer. Yeah, kind of new wave of old school death metal, just, nasty HM2 death metal worship. If you are a fan of Entombed, Dismember, Grave, Bloodbath, pretty much just think of any of the big, Swedish death metal bands, Swedish old school death metal bands. Check this out. I think it's definitely worth your time. Yeah, I think this is a pretty killer release. I believe this band is now defunct, which is pretty unfortunate because these guys were fairly new. This only came out in 2021, so yeah, it kind of sucks that they're apparently already split up according to the archives, but, shit happens. All right, next up, High on Fire, Death is This Communion. This is the fourth or fifth album from these guys. I think it's the fourth or fifth album. Correct me if I am wrong. But yeah, High on Fire, Matt Pike's band that he formed after Sleep. Sludge metal, stoner metal, kind of like speed metal. I mean, I dig this band, and this is definitely this is probably my favorite High on Fire album. I don't know, one's really up there for me. But I also love like Blessed Black Wings, and Luminiferous is really good too. I mean the last one, Cometh the Storm, that was in my top 10 for the whole year. I love that album. But yeah, High on Fire, kick-ass band, and this is an absolutely killer album. Songs like Fury Whip, the opening track, is amazing. Turk is a really cool song. Rumors of War, Ethereal. Yeah, this is a really killer album. Yeah, Matt Pike is a riff god. I don't think anyone's going to question that at all. And yeah, I got this used at my local store I saw, so I was like, hell yeah. Yeah, this is an absolutely killer album. Again, possibly my favorite High on Fire album. I'll find out if I rank High on Fire one day, because this band is pretty grossly consistent, but this is an absolutely amazing album. I love the album art too. I love like how Cthulhu's just sitting there looking all kind of small and like kind of just sullen. I think that's kind of funny, but yeah, love this album. If you've not heard the High on Fire, which I mean, what are you doing with your life if you haven't? Yeah, obviously if you're a fan of Sleep, Motorhead, there's definitely a lot of Motorhead comparisons that can be made to High on Fire. I would say if you like stuff like I don't know, like maybe Corrosion of Conformity a little bit, check this out. Just check out High on Fire, alright? They are a killer band, and this is an absolutely killer album. Alright, next up, some more kind of a doom metal. We have The Obsessed and their self-titled album. So this is the debut album from this Maryland-based doom metal band. This album came out in 1990, and yeah, The Obsessed, obviously, the band started by none other than Scott Wino Weinrich, who is the Doom Wizard of Maryland. Of course, you know him from a multitude of projects, Saint Vitus, Spirit Caravan, his solo stuff, and a few other bands I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But The Obsessed is honestly still probably my favorite of every band he's ever been in. I fucking adore this band. Admittedly, this is not my favorite Obsessed album. I prefer the follow-up Lunar Womb, which came out in '91. But dude, I mean, this album's a masterpiece. I really, really love this album. Tombstone Highway, the opening track, is amazing. The Way She Fly is awesome. That's like one of my favorite songs of all time, honestly, The Way She Fly. The riff on that song is fucking amazing. This is a 2-disc, so you got the regular album there, and then you got a bunch of like bonus tracks, like a bunch of old like unreleased demos and stuff, which is really cool. What else? There's like Forever Midnight is a killer song, Freedom, River of Soul. I love this album, and yeah, I love this band. Like, I love everything Scott Weinrich has done. Pretty much, like, Wino, again, he's the Doom Wizard of Maryland. And yeah, this album is absolutely killer. The production is great. The guitar tone of this album is thick and awesome. I find this kind of a great, like, summer album. I listen to this a lot when it's, like, really warm and sunny outside. I don't know, it just kind of has that perfect vibe, honestly. But yeah, The Obsessed, self-titled, I fucking love this album, and I'm so happy that I finally have it. Again, I prefer Lunar Womb, but this is probably a pretty close second. I would rank The Obsessed, but they only have 5 albums, so really not enough to do a ranking, I don't think. But yeah, The Obsessed, amazing band. Alright, next up, some more death metal. Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia. This is the lone full-length from this brutal death metal band. I believe they're from Ohio. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they are from Ohio. Here, I'll pop it open so you can see. First of all, love the artwork on here. It is absolutely just fucking gory and disgusting and gross as shit. Keeping it fucking sick. Yeah, this is a fucking sick, gross album. Yeah, came out in 1999. I love this album. This is one of my all-time favorite, like, brutal death metal albums. Yeah, I love everything about this album, really. This also comes with a bunch of live bonus tracks, which I think is pretty cool. Some standout tracks for me would probably be, let's see, Out of the Womb. I'm sorry, get the glare so I can actually see what I'm reading. Out of the Womb is killer. Repulsive Genital Disfigurement. Menstrual Cycle. Cadaveric Impregnation. This whole album is really just awesome. Like, this is just a staple in brutal death metal, really. I just kind of like the very dark, very creepy, kind of sinister vibe all throughout this album. I will say, I think this album is maybe a little bit more accessible to people who are like maybe fans of death metal, but really haven't delved much into the brutal side, because there's just a lot of, like, kind of old school death metal vibes on this album. There's definitely a lot of moments on here where it's just kind of like flat out old school death metal riffing, but you still get all the brutal death metal, you know, trademarks. You get the super low guttural vocals, you get all the gross lyrics, you get the pingy snare. I love this album. This is like one of my favorite death metal albums ever. Probably would be top 20, honestly, if I did my favorite death metal albums video. Like, this is just an amazing album. I absolutely love this album, and I'm really happy that I finally have it in my collection. Regurgitation, Tales of Necrophilia, fucking amazing album. Alright, the second to last CD that I'm going to be showing off here is a band that I was not familiar with. This is the third CD I got in the little giveaway from Imikaya. Revelation, Yet So Far. So, this is a doom metal band. I forget where exactly they're from, and I forget what album this is exactly in their catalog. I think it might be their, like, 4th album? I'm probably remembering that wrong, but yeah, Revelation, Yet So Far. This is a doom metal, but with kind of like progressive, like, flourishes every now and again. Overall, I was not familiar with this band prior to me receiving this CD, and I still only heard the CD from this band, but I've listened to it, and overall, I really like it. I think this is a pretty cool album. I like the production on this album. It's just kind of got a nice, you know, thick, heavy, kind of doomy guitar tone. Like I said, it's got kind of like the progressive elements. It's got really cool, like, kind of atmospheric sections, but you still get that classic doom metal sound. You get that kind of like 70s swagger that you get from like classic doom metal bands like Pentagram and stuff like that. Overall, yeah, I do really dig this album. Let's see, the opening track, Soul Bearer, I think it's a pretty cool song. Eternal Search, Grasping the Nettle, Alone, Fallen. I think this is a pretty cool album, and I am definitely excited to dive more into this band's catalog, because again, I was not familiar with this band previously. But yeah, Revelation, Yet So Far. In terms of like what to compare this to, I guess Warning is definitely kind of a bit of a comparison, especially kind of the vocals and, like, more specifically like early Warning, like Strength to Dream era Warning, where it was definitely a little more kind of atmospheric and a little less just flat out depressive. Definitely a little bit of Pentagram on here, just that kind of, again, has that kind of 70s classic doom swagger that I love. But yeah, Revelation, Yet So Far, pretty killer album. Definitely recommend it if you're a fan of doom metal. And the final CD, this is another album I've talked about a fair bit on this channel, but I finally have received myself a copy. Sargeist, Let the Devil In. Finnish black metal. This is the third album from this Finnish black metal band, and yeah, nice digipack. I know some people aren't big on digipacks, but I like them. As you see here, all the lyrics and stuff, there's a CD. Really cool, you know, art and stuff, and yeah, overall, this is one of my favorite black metal albums of all time. I absolutely love this album. Every single track on here is perfect. Like Empire of Suffering, the opening track, is incredible. From the Black Coffin Layers, like one of the best black metal songs ever. Nocturnal Revelation, the title track, but my favorite track on here is the second to last track, Twilight Breath of Satan. the riffs in that song are just, have been living in my head rent-free ever since I heard them. This is definitely my favorite album by this band, which is not an easy pick because I love everything Sargeist has done pretty much. I love like pretty much everything, you know, Shoutrog is involved in. Like I love Horna and I love a bunch of his other projects. Like him and Werewolf are basically the Finnish black metal scene pretty much. It's really those two guys that are like running the whole operation. But yeah, Sargeist, Let the Devil In. I've talked about this album a bunch on this channel. I absolutely love every single thing about this album. The production is perfect, maybe a little bit more polished than some of their other material, but not like overly polished or anything. This is a masterpiece of Finnish black metal, one of my top 10 favorite black metal albums of all fucking time. Definitely glad that I have it. Sargeist, Let the Devil In. If you've not heard it, you're a fan of like, you know, Horna, Satanic Warmaster. If you're just a fan of like Finnish black metal, you probably already have heard these guys, but if you haven't, you're missing out big time. All right, so that is all the CDs now out of the way. Let's talk about the vinyls. I have 4 of them. Oh, there's my pin. I also got this cool little Drutk pin from Hell's Headbangers. Pretty cool. I'll put that on my battle vest. I think that's really awesome. All right, now let's talk about the vinyls here. And so the first vinyl, this was from my local record store again. I saw this and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I have to get it. Flotsam and Jetsam. Here, let's get the glare out of the way. Flotsam and Jetsam, No Place for Disgrace. Yep, here, we'll just quickly open it up. Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite thrash metal albums. This is my favorite Flotsam and Jetsam album. Some people don't like this album just because of the sorry, the getting tongue twisted here. Some people don't like this album because of the production. I kind of get it, but the production doesn't ruin it for me because all the songs on here are absolutely amazing. Like, all right, yeah, maybe the Elton John cover on this album is kind of a little, you know, dumb, but the rest of the tracks, like the title track is fucking amazing. Dreams of Death, Any Terror, Misguided Fortune, PAAB. I fucking love this album. Like, everything about this album, really, I just really, really love. Yeah, the vinyl is kind of a, you know, just kind of your standard black vinyl here. Oh, whoa. Yeah, here we just... Yeah, whoops. I put this in the wrong way. That's not what I meant to do at all. Here we go. Hang on. Yeah. There we go. Elektra Records. Original sleeve. Pretty cool. Alright, so yeah, but yeah, pretty standard, you know, black vinyl. Nothing too crazy there, but yeah, I am just really happy I finally got my hands on this album. I saw this and I was like, I wasn't planning to get any vinyl when I first went to the record store, but I saw this and I was like, yep, that's mine. I'm getting this now. Yeah, Flotsam and Jetsam, obviously they are a staple in thrash. I dare I say, out of all the old school thrash metal bands, they're the ones that are going the strongest. Like, their last 3 albums have been absolutely fucking amazing. Like, literally, these guys are just awesome and I love them. One of my favorite old school thrash bands. Flotsam and Jetsam, No Place for Disgrace. It is an absolute masterpiece, and yeah, really no need to speak further on that. Let me just kind of put it back here in the case. Always a bit of a pain in the ass to put these back on. There we go. Yeah, but if you've not heard it, again, you're missing out, like, big time. All right, next up, another vinyl. I don't know why I said that. These are all vinyls, but yeah. Mortal Decay, Sickening Erotic Fanaticism. This is the debut album from this New York brutal death metal band, or brutal / technical death metal band. Yeah, I absolutely love this band. Admittedly, this is not my favorite album by this band because I think that the sophomore album, Forensic, is their crowning achievement. But this is still a really, really killer debut. Admittedly, I did buy this album mainly because it came with a poster. That's kind of like one of my main reasons for buying it. I have already hung up the poster. You can't see it, but it's right here. She's having a great time. Don't worry about her. Yeah, this is also a really cool gatefold vinyl. So here, open up here. I don't know if I can. Oh, there we go. We should be able to get the whole thing in there now. Yep, that's really cool. Comes with all the lyrics and everything. There's the back of it with all, you know, the good old boys. This is also a colored vinyl. So here, let me just kind of pop it open. Oh, look at that. That is really wicked. Yep, and this is a double disc, or double vinyl, I should say. So, yep, that's, you know, fairly cool. But, yeah. Admittedly, again, not my favorite, like, album by this band. I do really like this album. I just think some of the songs kind of drag on for maybe a little bit. too long, but it's not like an overly huge complaint or anything. But yeah, I do really like this album. Like, dude, Decompose with Nitric Acid, the opening track, is amazing. Revived Half Dead, Meditating Through Mayhem, Colombian Necktie, Rejoice in Moribund. This is a really awesome album. Yeah, if you've not heard this and you are a fan of Suffocation, Pyrexia, maybe like, you know, Skinless, stuff like that, Deeds of Flesh, check this out. I think this is definitely an amazing album. Love the album cover too, you know, it's got boobs on it, so of course I like it because I like boobs. But yeah, really killer album. Again, I did kind of buy it largely because it came with a poster, but you know, still really killer album. And you know, really cool colored vinyl. So yeah, really glad I have it. Yeah, Moral Decay, Sickening Erotic Fanaticism. Sorry, I'm getting all tongue twisted. Great album. Alright, the second to last vinyl, some more brutal death metal. Rotting, Crushed. Yeah, this is, first of all, I'm not sure if this album cover is a real dead body or not. It looks very realistic. So if it is a real dead body, then if it's not real, then good job on making it look so real, guys. But yeah, Rotting, Crushed. This is the lone full-length album from this Canadian brutal death metal band from Ontario. Came out in 1998. And yeah, this is another absolutely killer album. This is also a colored vinyl, which I shall show off right here. Here comes with a separate, you know, lyric sheet and all that. This is like one of my favorite brutal death metal albums. Again, like this is like up there with like Tales of Necrophilia in terms of like my favorite brutal death metal albums. Look at that! Oh my god, that is beautiful. Yeah, this is an absolutely just underrated death metal album. Frankly, it is beefy as all hell. The riffs on this album are just gross and nasty. Favorite tracks, the opening track, Sexually Tortured, is awesome. Christian Castration, Laid to Rest, the riffs on that album are amazing. The song Guts, which features a Godzilla sample, which, I mean, come on, how can you not love that? Let Them Bleed, Unholy Penetration. Yeah, I love this album. This is honestly one of my favorite, like, albums in terms of, like, old school, not old school death metal, brutal death metal. This is just flat out, you know, again, it's beefy, it's heavier than all hell, and again, frankly, hang on. And frankly, just again, super, super underrated. So yeah, Rotting, Crushed. If you've not heard this and you are, again, a fan of just like brutal death metal, just the guitar tone on this album is fucking nasty. Oh my god. Again, I'm very happy to have this album finally in my collection. One of my favorite death metal albums, period. Both inside and outside of brutal death metal. Yeah, I think it's just an absolutely amazing album. Rotting, Crushed, fucking love it. Alright, now we just slide this all back in as well. There we go. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure if the album cover is a real dead body or not, because it looks very, very realistic. So someone tell me if it is real, because I'm not 100% sure. And the final album I'm going to be showing off today, Sadistic Execution. We Are Death. Fuck you. So yeah, this is the sophomore album from these Australian extreme metal pioneers. Yeah, this album is absolutely just balls to the wall intensity, and I love it. First of all, great album art too here. Let me just slide this on out of here. And here, we'll pop this open. Feels so nice opening up a brand new vinyl. Look at that. That is wicked art. And this is also another colored vinyl. Here, I'll pop this open like so. Look at that really nice purple color there. Yeah, Sadistic Execution. Yeah, again, pretty much kind of like the pioneers really of Australian extreme metal. Their debut, The Magus, which again, this is not their debut, but their debut was recorded back in 1988, even though it didn't release until 1991. So I think these guys were honestly like really, really ahead of their time. But yeah, this album, like, every single track on here is amazing, or well, maybe not every track. Occasionally some of the more kind of atmospheric sections admittedly maybe detract from the album a little bit. But aside from that, this album is just pure, you know, a great blend of like black metal and death metal and like little hints of like grindcore kind of splashed out. Dare I say, like kind of like proto war metal. Like you listen to this album and then you can definitely hear where bands like Bestial Warlust or like Revenge got a ton of their sound from. But yeah, like the opening track Suspirial is amazing. Internal Clock, Mathematicus, Electrocution, Evoke War Vomit. I love this album, and again, the title, We Are Deaf, Fuck You. Like, this is like the most aggressively Australian thing that's ever existed. I love this band, and yeah, this album is possibly my favorite. It's really kind of a toss-up between the first 3 albums from this band, the Magoose, this one, and what's the fuck? I'm forgetting the name of the third one. Is it Chaos? K-A-O-S? Chaos? Something like that? But yeah, I love them. If you have not heard this and you're a fan of Bestial Warlust, Blasphemy, like Impurity, check this out. I think it is an amazing, amazing album. And yeah, just an amazing band. Sadistic Execution from Australia. Good eye, mate. I apologize for my horrible Australian accent. I know some of my Australian viewers are probably cringing right now, so my apologies. I just couldn't resist. And, well, that concludes this little collection update. Yeah, tons of absolutely killer albums. Expect more collection updates in the future, because I do plan on getting a ton more stuff. But yeah, that's just kind of stuff I have to show off for now. And yeah, anyways, if you made it to the end of this video, you are awesome, and I appreciate you. Do consider leaving a like if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below. Tell me, what do you think about all these albums? Let me know down in the comments. If you're not subscribed, do consider subscribing, because I do have a lot more content coming your way. Oh, fire alarm's going off. And, well, that about does it. I am just another Heavy Metal Maniac. I'll see you all sometime in the future. In the meantime, all of you take care and have a great day. So long.